But as far as the things that the government can be doing better, there's also a lot of things that the individual citizens should and could be doing better to prevent the escalation of what's been going on in Minneapolis. And I think first and foremost, there's just a big misunderstanding of what's actually meant by the First Amendment. Because you don't actually inherently have a right to protest. You have a right to freedom of speech. You have a right to assemble peacefully, okay? And then you have a right to petition the government specifically. But there's nothing in there that says you have a right to protest. But free speech isn't violence. It's not throwing objects at government vehicles or government property or government agents. It's not making noise all willy-nilly, like blowing whistles or just making noise to make noise, because that can violate, ordinances and local laws on noise violations. It can also be viewed as disorderly conduct if you're disturbing the peace of others in a public space. So again, that's not protected action. That's not free speech. And the First Amendment doesn't protect assembly if in that assembly you are obstructing and interfering with official government operations and government duties. So again, that's none of that. If your quote unquote protest is doing those things, it's not a protected action, and that's not a First Amendment right. And I think most importantly, the First Amendment only protects petition of change to the government, not private businesses, not hotels, not restaurants, and certainly not churches. And I think part of this on the citizens side is just being cognizant of the sources that they're taking information from the media content. Because if you're listening to someone like Don Lemon, you will be sorely misinformed.
Crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out, especially when he promised to deport the criminals?
Misdemeanor is not
it's
a
not
crime?
A criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
different
have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
To note, illegal immigration is a crime, and a crime is any violation of the law. Don Lemon also thinks that it's freedom of press and freedom of speech to violate a citizen's freedom to practice their own religion.
The MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, what's her name? Something Hammett, Dillon or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go.
I mean, we'll see if anything comes out of that situation. All that being said is that protesting a church inside of the church itself, a church being private property, that is not a protected action by the First Amendment. It's not constitutionally protected.